So one of the things I don't really like about these batteries, and others have mentioned this as well, is that the positive terminal has a black plastic cover, the negative has a white. In electronics, generally black is considered negative and some other color is considered positive. So, and these marks are relatively small and hard to see. So I want to print better, clearer to see positive and negative stickers, and I also want to number the cells. So to do that, I want to use a label maker. I've been using these Brother label makers in my day job in IT for well over 10 years, probably, I wouldn't say 15 years, but pretty close to it. And these tapes in particular, if I can get this out, hope you can see that, are the strong adhesive version. So this is the S231, Brother TZE S231. The tapes that come with these printers and the normal tapes, they don't hold for crap. These strong adhesive variants, well, you can see, I put this label on the day I bought this 12 or 13 years ago. This is a particularly old model, but they have modern versions of it. And it has been absolutely beat and kicked and stretched and heated and cooled, and it's never come loose. I absolutely swear by these strong adhesive variants. They used to come in a red pack, now they come in a blue pack. Point is, if you're interested in using a label maker that has amazing stiction, look for the strong adhesive, the S part of the part number. S231 is the 12mm high one. So I'm going to turn this on, clear, text only, and then I'm just going to do, I know I have 16 batteries, so I'm not going to make you watch all of this, but where the hell is the symbol? Okay, this is where I pause. All right, it was in the math symbols. So I've printed off 16 minus symbols and 16 plus symbols. It's going to make a tape that is almost 3 centimeters or 30 centimeters long, which is a lot, but safe on the boat, or safe on the battery, worth it. So got them all set. One of the things I like to do if you ever get one of these printers is you go to label and you want to make sure it's set to chain. I know you can't see this very well because it's the old model that wasn't backlit, but the point is you set the cut option to chain, and then what it does is it prints and stops. Then you can print your next label, it'll print it out, and you save a lot of tape. By default, they go to long spacing on either side. I do know why they do that. Make sure you always change it back to chain. So it's on chain, hit enter, and hit print. Okay, now I'm going to clear this and do the numbers 1 through 16. The battery numbers themselves are not nearly as critical, so I'm going to make them smaller to use less tape. So I've done 2 rows. I should mention that because I know this is going to be the first of either 4 or 6 battery packs, I'm going to label all of these batteries 1 through 16, but with a letter prefix, letter A in this case. Not exactly rocket science, I know, but hey, details. So this is where the chain comes in. You can see it cuts out. Start prints the next one. I don't have anything else to print for a bit, so I just do feed and cut. I'm probably going to cut all this out because why does anybody care about the intricacies of a label maker? So now I can set this aside and start cutting these up. I have never done any of this stuff before, camera-wise, so I might see if I can turn this into a time-lapse. So I'm just going to let the camera roll. Actually, I don't like, just a little, no, I'm not going to do that. Ew, yuck. Okay, yeah, this is going to get cleaned up. It's not rocket science, but I do want it to be at least somewhat symmetrical. Okay, 1 of 32. So I've got the labels printed and cut. I've got the battery numbers, well, letter and numbers cut. And I wanted to show, before I started sticking them, a little bit about how this is going to be wired together. So, as I mentioned earlier, these are the BMS leads. There's so many of them that they had to cross 2 connectors. One's white, one's black. So I did up this diagram where I showed the white connector, black lead, all the white leads, and the red lead. And then the black connector, I might have said black initially. If I did, I meant white connector. And then the black connector, which has fewer wires, finishes off the rest, black, bunch of whites, and red. This matters for a couple of reasons. One, the BMS cables have to be in the right order. You will damage the the BMS. But setting aside that, the app's going to show me all of the cells in the battery when I pull it up on the phone. And I want to be able to see the battery numbers, which will be 1 through 16. That is decided by the order of the leads coming from these connectors. So this is going to be the main battery negative. Then it's going to be the smart shunt through the BMS and then on to the first battery in the pack. Loop it all the way around to the main battery positive through the T-class fuse, the main disconnect switch, the pre-charge resistor and switch, and then the battery positive. So as mentioned, this is going to be the main battery negative, and that's going to be A01. So we're going to label this A01, A02, A03, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And obviously we'll be putting the bigger stickers on the positive and the negative, just to make it visually easier to know which terminal is which. So this is going to take a little bit of time. It's going to be fiddly. I'll record the first one and then I won't make you suffer through any of the others. Not that I can make you do anything. You can turn off the video whenever you like. So one trick I have learned about these stickers that I found, and you got to be really careful because this is metal, is I like to put it on the end of a pair of scissors and then position it and place it. I find it makes it really easy, especially with these finicky ones here. I'll show you how I do that again. Well, if you can see, these are a backer that's split. This is where I get to show how clumsy and fiddly I am not. Well, I'm very clumsy and very fiddly, so maybe I am. So again, take this like that, position it roughly where I want, stick it down. Now these ones, because I cut them half-wise, are pretty thin. So they're even more finicky to get the backing off of. Watch, I'm going to drop it. Of course I did. If you have access to a better sticker machine, lucky you. I do not. I'll peel that backing off, grab this, get it positioned like that. And again, being very mindful of the terminals. I guess I'll put them right above the burst disc. There we go. 15 more to go. So my grandmother always called me a little bit too positive. Anyways, as you can see now, it's all labeled up. And the next step, and probably the last one for today, is these batteries come with these threaded posts. And you're supposed, if you look in the fine manual, not to torque them beyond 8 Newton meters. I have a nice little tool I got for doing that and realized I don't have a bit that goes in this. So for now, I'm going to put them in finger tight. It's important to get them torqued down to the right spec so that you have a good contact, so that you don't have much resistance in the posts. But this is still the early days of the build. There's going to be lots of times to clean things up and make them better. So there's a few thoughts on how to do this. I know some people, they put them in, they torque them down until they're just a little bit finger tight and call it a day. Others, once they get it to it being finger tight, back it off a little bit so there's a little bit of play. I should probably move the camera for that. And then that way when they tighten down the top nut, if there's any rotation, it's not putting too much tension on those threads, the inner threads inside the battery. I kind of like that idea of having a little bit of wiggle room. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put them in until they're, meet some resistance and then back them off a little bit. So the batteries are labeled now, all the posts are in, and the next step I need to do is going to be a fair bit more invasive, and that's going to be drilling holes through these so that I can put bolts and nuts that are the right size for the ring terminals I have for the BMS leads. That's enough. I'm going to do that next time. So, thank you for watching if you watched. I'm the Digital Mermaid. My battery's starting to come together. Cheers.